Let's talk about the various ways you can use the clamping and vise capabilities of the Workmate 425. You'll notice first off that I have some pipe insulation on here, and the reason I show that is I learned the hard way that if you clamp things down too tight or you've got some delicate wood, you can actually mar that wood. So when I have those types of pieces that I'm working on, I like to put a little pipe insulation on there to protect them from being damaged, like the one that I damaged. Another thing to look at is how to clamp different pieces of pipe. I have a simple length of PVC in here, and you notice it stays pretty snug, but I'm going to come down here and point something out. The Workmate has, if you can see in here, these little grooves. They're designed so you can set your pipe in there, and it holds it pretty snug. I hope you can see that. I hope that's coming out on the video okay for you to see. So that's clamping piping horizontally. You may also have a need to clamp a piece of pipe on a vertical basis. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit closer, and you see that little notch that's cut out right there? That makes it a little more stable when you're clamping it. So you have an awful lot of vise or clamping strength here, so make sure if you're using PVC you don't accidentally break it. I'm going to show you the notch on the other side, see if I can get in here close so you can see that. So this gives you the ability to put a piece of pipe, PVC, what have you, in there on a vertical basis and keep it pretty stable. If you have a larger piece, let's say 3 or 4 inch pipe, you might want to go to the sawbucks in the other video that I produced, so take a look at that as well. There are a few ways to clamp 2x4s. In this illustration or this mock-up, what I've got is I've got it above the surface. Let me see if I can come down here and let you see this. I've got it above the surface of the bench, and I'm using bench dogs for that purpose. You will notice that I have 8 dogs. The bench comes with 4, and I bought 4 extra for this purpose. So if you're sanding or finishing something and you want it above the bench so it doesn't damage your bench or your dogs, that's the way to go. So use your bench dogs to hold it above the surface of the bench. Recently I had to recycle some old wood that had some nails and screws in it, and I was pounding on it pretty heavy. In that particular situation, the bench dogs probably would not have held it well. So you can actually put it down between the vise, just like you see here, and that'll hold it very well. With all the pounding and pulling I did with my hammer and trying to get those nails out, it never budged, and the 36 pounds of the bench made it really stable for me to work on. You can also clamp your 2x4 or any other piece of wood vertically like you see here. Now you will notice I've reversed this back panel here. This has been reversed. You can switch them around. This is the only one that is not reversible because it's bolted into the worm gears. But I reversed this one to give me the right position for this to go down between all those cross members in there without having to be tilted. So this keeps it upright. There may be a need for you to work upright with a 2x4 or another piece of wood, and it'll slide down in between the members of the bench. Larger pieces may be too big to fit down through the center of your bench or interfere with some of the members. So if it doesn't need to be really stable, you can put that at the very edge. As you can see right here, you can clamp that at the edge, and it's still pretty stable. I wouldn't put too much pressure on it, but if you're painting or you're doing a little tacking at the top or a little adhesive work, this may be the way for you to go. I don't have anything that's tapered, but what I did is mock up with a 2x4 in edgewise like you see here, and I did it wide. So what you can see is because each handle or vise or worm gear works independently, you can work with a tapered object and still be able to clamp it into position so you can work with it more effectively. You can also clamp odd shapes with the bench dogs. So using the capability of the worm gears or the handles to crank independently, I've cranked that left side just a little bit closer than the other. But I'm using 3 dogs on this one, 3 bench dogs. and it holds it pretty much in place. It's not, the top is going somewhere, but that bottom is pretty firm. I don't know that I would hammer on it, but it sure does keep it in place. So if you have something odd shaped, circular, or just irregular, this is the way to go. Just for grins, I thought I'd see if the Workmate could hold a 5-gallon bucket, and it's pretty firm in there. And I'm only using 3 bench dogs. I'm sure if I spent some time I could probably figure out a way to apply more. But 3 bench dogs and the little irregular clamping, as you can see, the left side is a little bit wider than the right side, but it holds that in there quite well. So I hope this series on clamping has helped you out and helps you to find new ways to get your projects done sooner. Good luck with your projects.